Hello, I'm Olga, the co-founder of Smart Purse, an independent money coaching and learning toolbox for women. And I'm here today to talk to you about the 5 essential things that every woman should know about money. Now, I am a global innovator in financial services that ended up being an entrepreneur and looking forward to spend the next 15 minutes with you throughout this talk. For those of you who sit it out, there is a tiny goodie at the end, so enjoy. Let's get started. So, what are the 5 things that impact women's finances the most and the 5 things that we should know about? This content for the speech has come together from my over 8 years of experience exchanging with women across the globe and learning from it and packaging it for you in the essence. I am going to speak to you about, first and utmost, our money mindset, very important. Second, about what the role of negotiating pay is and what role it plays as part of women's finances. Thirdly, the pitfall of part-time work and what does do to your retirement. Four, the concept of saving and investing and why in today's environment it might be a really good idea to invest your money. And ultimately, number 5, how I believe that women's money will change the world. Now, I have to also put forward a legal disclaimer that nothing in this speech constitutes financial advice, and you still should seek out professional financial planning advice in order to take action. That is the disclaimer being done. Let's start with our money mindset. Did you know that our money beliefs are formed as early as at the age of 7? So a lot what we learn and observe in our parents, how they deal with money, then actually forms our own way how we deal with money ourselves. And in the same way, of course, those of you who have children pass on these money beliefs also to your kids. Now, for women, our relationship with money is basically formed by history and societal norms, as well as influenced by the complexity that our female life cycles put on the wealth that we might or potentially might not have. So let's take a step back in history to depict that a little bit better. Well, in the very old days in old Egypt, women could own property, they were allowed to open businesses, they were financially savvy in their own rights. And this pretty much lasted across history until approximately the 1100s, where a concept called the couverture was invented that looked at a married man and woman as one economic entity. And all in a sudden, women could no longer own property or buy land or open a business, and basically became financially dependent on their partners or their husbands. And this lasted for a very long time, up to 1975, where women still had in the UK to ask their husbands permission to open a bank account. In Switzerland, this was up to 1976. Where women actually not only had to ask for permission to open their bank account, but also to ask for their husband's permission when they wanted to go to work. So you see, we are looking at a very long history where basically we as women have been told that we might not be good with money, or that we are not worth it, or that we can't deal with it, and that we actually have no right to have money in our own right. And this has shaped and formed, of course, the money mindset of our mothers, but partially also of ourselves, because they kind of passed on these values on to us. So no wonder that many women still today tell me, oh, God, listen, I really feel very afraid of this. I think I just don't understand it well enough. Or they say, I wouldn't know where to get started. Or I don't have the time, or it is just something that seems to be so daunting and terribly boring, even though actually being good with money is not boring. But yes, with all the acronyms and the lingo, it might be perceived as such. And so what is the net effect of this? The net effect is that 6 out of 10 young women abdicate financial planning responsibilities to their partners, and that when women don't engage in managing their money as often as they could. And you see it here on this chart, combined with a longer life expectancy, with a gender pay gap, with the pitfall of part-time work, basically what it can do to a female financial wealth creation curve. Now, this is an illustrative model that you see here on the chart that we calculated when I was still in UBS. And you might see that the lady and the gentleman start very well off with 1 million of whatever currency. And in this model, the lady basically has only a 10% pay gap. She returns to work 70% and only takes 1 year of work. And you see for yourself what this does to her female wealth creation curve. Now, what are the 3 things that cost us the most? Number 1, negotiating pay, and we're going to touch on this just a little later. Number 2, already mentioned part-time work, but that is not to put a price tag on our children. It is more in order to understand how you can plan for it and what it does to your retirement. And ultimately, there is the concept of saving only instead of putting your money to work and making it go, giving it the chance to grow and invest it. Now, let's come to the second point, the importance of negotiation. Here are some staggering statistics for you. The Carnegie Mellon University investigated and found out that only 7% of their female students negotiated their first pay, which that means 93% did not. And some of you might already know 2.3% of VC capital went to female founders, so that is just a tiny proportion of everything, of all the capital that is out there. Now, women do negotiate differently than men do, but we also have to be mindful of the fact that we are perceived differently when it comes to negotiation. Now, why is negotiating your first pay very much important? Well, because if you start from a low base, it translates across all of your working life, and therefore you earn less money and also have less money to retire at the end. So negotiating pay courageously is a very important thing, which already brings me to the next point. Now, again, this is not to put a price tag on your kids, but it's important to be aware of the following. Each and every one of us has a very unique life. Nevertheless, our financial life cycle basically can be divided into different stages. And for a woman, they look something similar like this on this chart, from growing up, studying, requalifying, entering and re-entering the workforce, relationships, our roles as mothers, later life, and potentially ill health and dying. And it is, unfortunately, a very sad fact that across each one of these stages, women tend to lose money more than men do. And so what is it that you can do about this? Well, the one thing that is the secret of financial planning is to plan ahead for these life events. So when you potentially might want to have a child in the future, it's good to plan for this now rather than when you already have the child. Or when you want to buy a home, it's good to plan in advance. So by planning ahead, your financial plan can help you not only to reach some of your life's goals faster, but it also can ensure that no hardship happens to you and that you are prepared for the unexpected. So planning ahead is certainly a very good practice. Now, many women don't have the chance to plan ahead or actually just don't do it. And there you see that because they work part-time or because they take time out of work, this has a very negative impact on their pensions. For example, women in the UK will be 5 times poorer than men at the age of retirement. In Switzerland, there are 2 times more women impacted by old age poverty than men are. Now, the fourth point I wanted to mention to you is the concept of saving versus investing. And let's depict that here with a couple of things. Now, what is happening with your money when it is on a saving account? Well, it sits kind of in a crunch situation because over time, it gets potentially eaten away by inflation, as well as it has no chance to grow because the interest rates are so low, or there even might be negative interest today that you might be paying. So keeping your money on a saving account certainly will keep it safe, but it will diminish in value over time and it can't grow. Versus what happens when you actually invest your money? Well, investing it allows you to give it a chance to grow. And you see here with the two charts that we looked at before, the very unfortunate one with the lady running in old age poverty. On the with return 3% chart, you basically see exactly the same model. Only in this simulation, the woman invests with an average return of 3% per year. So she is not even a bullish investor. And you see how her overall life wealth creation curve can improve. So that should be an encouragement for all of us to actually probably think about how we could invest our money and to do it in a way that feels right and that is in line with our values. And that brings me to the final point of this talk. Your money can change the world because it is a very powerful tool, not only to buy things, but to also express your values. And women are exorbitantly good at that. Well, first and foremost, we are creating wealth at staggering rates. One study suggested it's 33% a year. And look at another fact, 1 in 3 businesses are owned by women globally. So 1/3 of businesses are owned by women. And at the same time, when we do invest, despite the fact that we have a different approach to risk, that potentially decision-making processes might take a little longer, so maybe we ask around, we want to check, double check, figure out when women invest, we make for wonderful investors, outperforming men 1.8% on average annually. And what is even better, 8 out of 10 of us want to invest sustainably. And we also donate more frequently than men do, despite having lower incomes. So imagine all that money that is being generated by women, what good it could do if it was invested with a sustainable strategy. It's enormous what that could do. I am convinced this money will change the world. So what is it that you can do today to make the world a better place and also for yourself? Here are my 5 tips. First and foremost, if you are new to all of this and the world of finance, educate yourself. Learn about money, learn about the financial basics, and don't be afraid to ask any question until you feel comfortable. There are no stupid questions about money, and for that matter, nobody knows everything about money anyway. Second, negotiate. Ask with courage for what you are worth. Do your homework, gather your statistics, and make sure that you are actually getting adequately paid. My third tip is take action for your retirement. Start planning for your retirement and putting money aside for it as soon as you can. The sooner you do it, the easier it gets because money compounds over time. So it's a little bit like personal fitness regime. Walking steps every day, putting money aside for your retirement might be very helpful. My fourth tip to you is invest. Invest your money and don't save only. And when you invest in line with what you believe in and what is important to you. And finally, inspire other women, especially the young ones. Share with them your financial confidence. Share with them that it is important to be good with money, to take care of ourselves in order to be financially independent, safe and secure, and to make a difference in this world. So if you like this talk, subscribe to our free money tips, comes into your inbox every 2 weeks. If you want to get started or want to learn more, take one of our Money Fundamentals courses. If you feel like share this speech, it would be wonderful to inspire more women. And now, finally, because you sat through this talk all the way through, here is also a special discount voucher that is only linked to this speech that will be valid for any course or money school item you buy on smartpurse.me. Thank you very much for watching. And yes, I am absolutely convinced to change the world, women have to change the world of money, and we will, because it has already started with you watching this talk today. Thank you very much.